The first official trailer for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey has finally been released in theaters. I've seen it and I'm going to tell you everything about it. Shot entirely in IMAX and on a scale never before attempted, the footage seen in the first official trailer is primal, vast, and breathtaking. The cinematography by Hoyte van Hoytema is some of the best I've ever seen, and we're only getting glimpses. Incredible storms, raging seas, a glimpse of the Cyclops, and Ludwig Göransson's thunderous score. Our voyage to the Odyssey begins now. So let's break down the entire trailer shot by shot. I'm going to give you a detailed breakdown of the entire trailer, give you my thoughts, and talk about what may be one of the most staggering achievements in modern cinema. Let's talk about the first official trailer for The Odyssey. Before we get into it, hit like, hit subscribe, and let's break down the Odyssey trailer. Now, unfortunately, it's important that I let you know I can't show you any images or video from the trailer because Universal hasn't officially released the trailer online. It's currently only playing in theaters, just as the prologue was, and just as the original teaser was back in July. But I'm confident the trailer will be released online immediately, as Universal has already changed their YouTube page to have a huge The Odyssey banner on top. Rumor has it this trailer will be breaking this week. But what's in it? Who is in it? What does it look like? I'm going to tell you every shot and every word in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey trailer. Spoilers from here on out. The trailer begins with Odysseus walking up and bowing before Agamemnon. His voiceover says, "After years of war, he and his men walk through a forest." He continues, "No one could stand between my men." Then we see a castle sitting atop a mountain overlooking the ocean. These are all real shots of real locations, and the cinematography here already is stunning. Odysseus finishes, "and home." So what we hear him say is, after years of war, no one could stand between my men and home. We then see Tom Holland and Anne Hathaway, who play Penelope and Telemachus, Odysseus' wife and son, looking at each other, not saying a word, both looking miserable, but standing atop that castle overlooking the ocean. I'm sure this is where Telemachus tells Penelope, his mother, he'll be going after his father Odysseus. We then see Odysseus and his men rowing their ships against the waves on the sea. We see 3 ships, each with a single large sail floating in front of an island. We hear Odysseus finish the quote, "Not even me," meaning that nothing would stand in the way of his men and their desire to finally reach home after the Battle of Troy, after fighting these wars. It's time for them to come home, and nothing will stop them. And this is what the story of the Odyssey is about. Odysseus getting him and his men home after a long and arduous war. We then see, on the shore of a sea, the Trojan horse being hoisted up by at least 100 real men, pulling it out of the waves and the sand, while another man on horseback watches. Now, this shot is absolutely gorgeous. And again, the cinematography by Hoyte van Hoytema, backed up by the score of Ludwig Göransson, was blowing my mind. I truly do think that we are in for an incredible cinematic experience. Because describing the shots, it's not the same as seeing it. I cannot wait until this trailer drops, and you can see it as well. The next shot is Odysseus inside the horse. This shot came directly from the prologue that I saw on 1570 IMAX just last week, and I made a video describing the entire prologue. If you're interested in that, I suggest checking that out either right now or when you're done with this video, and I'll link that in the description below. But inside the horse, it's tight and dark. It's cramped. He is surrounded by his men, and they are all trying to be as quiet as possible. As the Trojans bring the horse in, unsuspectingly, some of the soldiers must be stabbing the horse with their swords because one of his men is stabbed by a sword coming through the top of the horse. We see John Barenthal, who plays Menelaus, holding the man's mouth shut, stopping him from screaming out in pain as he's being stabbed in the shoulder. Any noise would have given the men away. What's great about this shot is that we see how difficult it was to sneak into Troy. I think every time I've ever heard this story told in the past, it was just a cunning idea. They sneak in, they're inside the horse, and they trick the Trojans. But here, Christopher Nolan is showing what a difficult task this would have been, and that even getting inside of the city walls within the horse was a difficult task in and of itself. The next shot is Odysseus unsheathing his sword later as he walks into a cave. Now, some thought this initially was the underworld, but I do believe this is the cave of the Cyclops, because the next shot is from inside the cave, and he, along with his men, are going deeper, the only light coming from just behind them outside the entrance of the cave. Seemingly, they are ready to fight if necessary. This is followed by a shot of Odysseus looking high above him, fire behind him, as he realizes some awful thing is about to happen. The next shot is from further behind. He and all his men look up in fear as a giant shadowy figure emerges from the entrance of the cave. This is our first real glimpse of the Cyclops. Later, it's daylight. His men are all running for their lives atop a cliff, their ships docked and floating in the distance. All real, all shot on location. We then see a dark blue night. This blue is similar to the blue we see in the newly released poster for the Odyssey, reminiscent of Michael Mann's Heat and The Dark Knight. This deep blue night lights the sky, and on the ground we see silhouettes of a large group in the distance. We then see a shot of Odysseus looking down at the ground, seemingly in horror. We get a close shot on the dirt, and something is coming from underground, almost the way a zombie's hand would come up from a gravestone. Odysseus then holds his sword up to some creature, the blue night sky making clear that this is all part of the same sequence. Another shot, seemingly the risen undead, who had just come out of the dirt. They seem to be wearing his armor, so these might be his men who he's lost in battle. It's unclear, but again, the cinematography here is bar none incredible. Deep blacks, gorgeous blues, and this is all just in the trailer. And this is what shooting on IMAX can afford you, shooting on real film, and especially on 1570mm IMAX. The colors and the detail that we are going to see in this film are going to be like nothing that we've seen ever before. Next, we're back on the ship, and massive waves crash onto the deck, knocking a soldier overboard. And this is obviously real water. There is no CGI involved. These are real ships on the real water, and there are 30 men rowing as Odysseus holds on tight to a rope for stability. The men row in unison against the massive storm waves as water crashes onto the deck of the ship. Odysseus, covered in rain, commands his men to keep rowing. A voiceover from Anne Hathaway's Penelope says, "Promise me you will come back." We see Penelope holding Odysseus, head in hands. He's looking down at the floor, and without looking back up at her, he says, "What if I can't?" And that's the end of the first official trailer for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. It's a feast for the eyes, an audiophile's dream, and narratively, it's exactly what I want to see from a first trailer of a film. If you're familiar with The Odyssey and have read the book, you'll be delighted and excited to see how Christopher Nolan is beginning to interpret the story to film. If you don't know The Odyssey, if you're unfamiliar with anything but basic knowledge that it is an old story, a classic tale, and involves gods and monsters, this first trailer will begin to wet your whistle. It doesn't give away too many secrets. It's not showing its best hand. It's just letting us know what we're in for. An epic tale of an arduous journey filled with gods, monsters, shot on location with some of the best actors in the world, made by one of the best filmmakers in the world, who utilizes the best team in the world to help him make movies. This is going to be an incredible experience. And the first official trailer for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey gave me exactly what I needed. I had initially thought that it would just be a mix of the teaser and the prologue, but it's so much more than that. This is a true trailer. It doesn't give away too much, but it gets me excited, and I want to know if it got you excited. Have you been able to see the trailer in person? Did you see a leaked version online? Are you one of the people who still think that the costumes should be historically accurate? I sure am not. I'm looking forward to this epic, modern, swords and sandals, bombastic, gigantic IMAX film. I can't wait for the second trailer. I can't wait to keep watching this first trailer over and over again. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say. I want to hear all your thoughts on Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, so leave them in the comments below. Hit like, hit subscribe, and thanks again for coming. This is Film School Dad.